it's Mama G here, and I am very excited to share with you an absolutely wonderful picture book. But before I do, don't forget that you can find me on Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. You just need to search for @MamaGStories. Now, the book I'm going to share with you today is absolutely gorgeous, and it is called Katy Has Two Grampas. It's by Julie Schanke Lyford and Robert A. Schanke and has illustrations by Maria Luzina. It's story time with Mama G. Come and hear a story with me. Love who you want to be, who you are. Learn these lessons and we'll go far. It's story time. Story time. Story time with Mama G. Today is a big day at school. Mrs. Brown has a big announcement, and Katy is excited to find out what the surprise will be. She rattles off idea after idea to Maddie, her big sister, as they walk to school. In the hallway, Ivy comes up to her and asks, "Katy, do you want to play a game?" Katy doesn't say anything. Peyton says, "She's not going to answer you. Katy doesn't like to talk. No one can understand her lisp." Katy's best friend, Schanke, notices she looks sad. "Let's go and play zoo with all the animals," he suggests. Katy smiles and they go off to play. A little while later, Mrs. Brown claps to get the students' attention and asks them to come and sit down for circle time. Do you know what holiday is this weekend? Can anyone guess? She asks. Mikey shouts out, "Is it pizza day?" "No, silly," Mrs. Brown says with a laugh. "We're going to have a party and invite our grandparents to celebrate Grandparents' Day. Today, you'll all paint pictures of fun things you do with them. If you don't have grandparents who can join us, you can invite anyone else you love." Schanke asks, "What are you going to paint?" "I think I'm going to paint my family biking up a mountain." Schanke keeps talking, but Katy has stopped listening. Katy's busy thinking of all the fun things she does with her two grandpas. Grandpa Bob and Grandpa Jack are two of her favourite people, and she can't wait to have them visit her classroom. She starts to think about what she should paint. Mrs. Brown walks over to Peyton. She asks, "What are you painting?" "I'm painting us at a carnival. We rode on a huge Ferris wheel. It went way, way up into the sky," Peyton exclaims. Katy listens nervously. She doesn't want to talk in front of Peyton because she's scared he'll make fun of her lisp. Mrs. Brown smiles and turns to Katy. "What are you painting?" After a pause, Katy quietly answers, "I'm painting my grandpa and my grandpa pushing me high up on a tire swing." Mrs. Brown replies, "That sounds like fun." But then she leans down and says quietly, "Don't you mean grandpa and grandma?" "No," Katy insists. "I mean grandpa and grandpa." Mrs. Brown says, "I know that having a lisp makes it hard for you to say some of your letters. It's grandpa and grandma." "No," Katy stammers. "It's grandpa and grandpa." The bell rings and interrupts them. Mrs. Brown announces, "All right, it's time to go home. On Grandparents' Day, we'll have you introduce your visitors to the class and show off your paintings." Schanke sees that Katy is upset. "Are you okay?" he asks. Trying to hold back her tears, she mumbles, "She didn't understand me. I said Grandpa and Grandpa. Why can't anyone understand what I'm saying?" Katy rushes away to her locker. Maddie comes to get Katy to walk home. "Maddie, my teacher doesn't understand me. When I say Grandpa and Grandpa, she says I'm wrong. She keeps saying it's Grandma and Grandpa, but it's not. And she says we have to talk in front of the class when Grandpa and Grandpa come to visit. I don't want them to come. I can't talk in front of the class. Everyone will laugh at me." Katy sobs even harder. Take a deep breath. Let's go back. I'll explain what you said and remind Mrs. Brown that you are scared to talk in front of the class. You know your grandpas will understand you, right? Katy thinks for a minute and then nods in agreement. Mrs. Brown sees that Katy has been crying. "Oh, what's wrong, sweetheart?" Katy doesn't answer. Maddie says, "Katy is upset because you don't understand her. Our two grandpas will visit, and they're married to each other." Mrs. Brown says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Katy. I misunderstood you. Oh, I didn't know. Please invite them to our party so we can all meet them. You can introduce them to the class." Katy shakes her head frantically. Mrs. Brown is confused and looks to Maddie for an explanation. Maddie says she really wants them to come, but she's scared to introduce them. Mrs. Brown smiles. "You don't have to introduce them if you don't want to, but they can still visit." Katy nods and smiles slightly, rubbing tears from her eyes. A few days later, the room buzzes with excitement as they all work to decorate the classroom for their grandparents. And look, they make a rather marvellous job of it. Mrs. Brown says thank you all for helping us to celebrate Grandparents' Day. The children painted pictures of things they enjoy doing with you. Anyone who wants to share will tell us something about their painting. Who would like to start? Many children raise their hands. While they're describing their artwork, Katy tries to build the courage to talk in front of the class. Grandpa Bob notices how quiet she is. He leans down and whispers, "It's okay. Even if they don't understand what you're saying, we will." Katy smiles, takes a deep breath, and raises her hand timidly. Mrs. Brown calls on her. "These are my grandpas. And you know what?" She pauses, starting to get excited. "They're married to each other." The kids clap and Schanke cheers, making Katy laugh. "What are some fun things you like to do with your grandpas?" asks Mrs. Brown. Katy thinks before responding. "We've done so many fun things, but my favourite thing is playing in their backyard. They have a huge 2-story house. And a tire swing that goes over a big waterfall. Peyton exclaims, "Wow! Where'd you get one of those?" Katy giggles. "You have your grandpas build it." Mrs. Brown comes over to Katy. "You did a great job talking in front of the class. I know that was scary for you. Thank you for sharing your grandpas with us today." Grandpa Jack leans down to Katy. "Great job today. How about we end the day with some ice cream?" Katy cheers and says, "Let's go." The end. Gosh, that really is a wonderful book. And if you would like to get your own copy, all you need to do is go to katyhas2grampas.com or visit amazon.co.uk and you will be able to purchase it for yourselves. Thank you for watching and I'll see you all soon.